Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. And today we have prepared an amazing workshop for you. First of all, I would like to introduce our amazing speaker. So, Farid is a senior user experience designer with more than 10 years of experience working in B2B and B2C sectors, both in small and medium businesses as well as enterprise size organizations. All in all, Farid is a true team leader with a passion to simplify and automate processes. He strives for product success with innovative ideas while addressing a wide range of user and business challenges. Therefore, today he will be delivering an innovation workshop. So, Farid, the stage is yours. Let's welcome Farid to present.
Thank you, Lilia, for that such an amazing introduction. I'm really thrilled today to share with you some of these practices that will help you to create some new products, like to innovate with some of the ideas and that might be helpful for you as well. So let me start by sharing my screen. And let's start a quick theory around the innovation workshop. So as Lilia shared already, my name is Farid Sabitov. I'm senior experience designer in EPAM, and today I'll be together with Lilia, we will help you and share some practical advices of how you will able to start these innovation workshops within your clients or within your teams as well. Today we also have Lilia. She will be moderating the session today. If you will have any questions or if you would like to participate in the workshop and you don't have technical possibility to join our Figma, please just write in the comments and Lilia will put that into the Figma file so we will be able to communicate and discuss all of that together. So our goal for today is have practical experience in innovation workshops. I think you all heard about that. Let's go into detail. So our goal today is like to give you some examples, some materials that you will able to do that by yourself in the future. So some ground rules. Let's start with some ground rules. We will work in Figma. So Lilia, if you will able to share the link to the Figma file to our chat, please do that. So whoever have access to the Figma or who already have account with the Figma, please join this link and we will work together in one file. If not, it's not a problem. Please just write in the comments and Lilia will add your notes to our workshop as well. Keep on mute when you are not speaking. We are here to learn and participate and ask questions in the chat. So our plan for today is really tough because we wanted to share a lot of things, but because we don't have a lot of time today, we will go through like quick overviews with some examples, and we will be happy if you will share some of your notes as well. During this workshop participation, so we will able to discuss all together. So please be proactive and share all your thoughts on the chat. So the first thing, we will start with some introduction and warm-up, and then we will go to the theory, and the last part is the most interesting for me personally, is the practice itself. Okay, the first thing, I hope you all received the link to the Figma file. I will just go through the quick basics around the Figma. We have sticker nodes here, so you can just like duplicate the sticker node, add to the place where you want, double click to edit the text, and if you would like to resize the sticker, you can do that as well, like in other platforms. It's the same approach. If you would like to move or navigate through the Figma board, please use this hand icon that is available in the top left corner, or hold the space bar and click and drag them to move around the canvas. If you would like to zoom in or zoom out, because we have infinite canvas, you can do that by clicking on the top right section. There is a percentage where you can zoom in or zoom out the view, or you can just again click on hold a command key on Apple or control key on Windows, and by scrolling you are able to go zoom in or zoom out. And the one of the important things is you can always click on my user picture or on Lilia's user picture to see where we are currently are. Because we are sharing the screen, you can do that the same within the Figma itself. Just click on my user picture and you will able to see where I'm right now. And if you would like to add some images to the Figma file, you can just like copy to your clipboard from the Google search results or somewhere else, and just paste it to the canvas. So that's the way how we will able to interact with all of us together. Okay, let's start. I see that we have a couple of people on the canvas already. Let's start with some icebreaker activities with some playground where we will learn how to use Figma. Please click on my user picture and try to duplicate the stickers that we have. 1 second. I'll just need to find the specific artboard and unlock it. So use these stickers and just duplicate them and add a quick introduction about yourself, so we will meet each other and we'll be more connected. Yeah, we see some people are joining. It's great. And because we wanted to make a quick workshop today, unfortunately, anonymous person don't have a name, but please just duplicate the sticker note. I will help you here as well. And just double click on this text to provide your quick introduction about yourself. So that will be a quick intro about how to use this tool, because in the next part of the workshop, we are going to discuss the main techniques here. Lily, you can join as well if you would like to duplicate the sticker and add some of your notes. Anonymous,
Sure.
you need to click on V or select the cursor on the top left corner called Move to duplicate the stickers and change the text inside. We have some people joining our workshop. We see Maria here. And please ask your questions if you have some, like we see Maxim Lugovsky. We see more people are joining our team, our
Farid,
workshop.
there is actually one quick question that is not necessarily related to the Figma.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start by addressing it. So the question is, what do you think about trees for solving creative problems?
Yeah, that's one of the approaches as well. There are a lot of different practices that are available right now. We are going to speak about one of the options of how to innovate during these 4 different activities that I shared in our workshop explanation. Yeah, but it's also another interesting way of how to do like innovations in your teams, in your organizations as well. Yeah, there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of practices around that. There is no good or bad solutions.
Thank you, Farid. So according to the timing, we can jump to the next topic of yours. So feel free to kick off.
Thank you. Okay, I'm happy that we see a couple people are joining our workshop. So let me start the theory part that we wanted to share. And I will start the presentation in a couple seconds. Yeah, the second thing that I want to share is let's start the theory. So we went through introduction and warm-up session. So right now we will start the theory itself. So when we are thinking about why do we need these innovation workshops, we see that methodologies like design thinking, lean UX are able qualitatively improve our products. By understanding user problems, conducting competitor analysis and market research, we are able only improve the things that the market already has. But what if we would like to come up with some more innovational ideas in a larger scale? During the innovation workshops, we will break the thinking templates and will generate a lot of innovational ideas that are out of the box. By using activities like opposite thinking, trend matrix, analogy thinking, and my personal evolution analysis technique, we will learn how to use these tools and some practices that will help your team to think differently than others. Innovation workshops will help your team members to think in a larger scale, motivate them because more because they will able to see the future and feel the future impact to the humanity. Adjust and set up the right vision and strategy of your company. So as you can see here, it's not about the design thinking process or lean UX. It's more about the ways how we could break the thinking templates in our brains. So that's why these 4 different activities will help us to do that. So let's start with the activities itself. So the first one is around opposite thinking. This play is used to ask yourself to familiarize with opposite side of things to stretch the horizon of possibilities. So the way how it works, we're starting with assumption, as you can see here on the left side. Then we are like completely doing at showing that as opposite. And because we are showing that as opposite, completely opposite, that's how we are able to find some new interesting ideas that we could use during the progress. Also, we prepared with Lily some interesting examples of how that will help you to understand this activity. And we were really amazed by the ways of how this activity can just like break the thinking templates, and we were able to come up with some interesting ideas. As you can see here, it's not really time consuming, but today we will have more shorter version of this innovation workshop. So let's go to the next one, the trend matrix. This is the tool that to generate hundreds of focused ideas with the inspirations of the latest trends. It's not only about the trends like COVID, remote work, and other things, but also about the technologies. Because when we are speaking about innovations, they are mostly based on the technologies that we currently have. So we also prepared some interesting examples here, and we will be happy to share it with you today. Let's go to the next one, is analogy thinking. Analogy thinking, this is the tool that helps you to identify and apply the best features from other solutions. And we are not speaking about the competitor analysis. This is more likely analogy thinking that is completely different. So for example, if we are IT company, let's not think about the competitors in IT field. Let's try to make analogy thinking in other disciplines like science, healthcare, and others. So that's how we will able to come up with some interesting ideas, just to think about the analogies within the different disciplines. And the last part is the evolution analysis. When we are thinking about the innovations, most of the times innovations are just like the newest innovation is just the merging of the on the previous ones. So that's why when we are trying to analyze that based on the time frame, like distant past, near past, present, near future, and far future, we are able to understand how these things are working and how they are connected to each other. So don't worry if it's too if something is not clear. We will go to the examples in a couple seconds, and I hope it will be much more clear for you as well. And let's go through the plan. Usually, when we are doing innovation workshops, here is the plan. And also, because our goal is to share all these best practices with you and share the frameworks and the tools, the resources, this is the way how you will able to do this innovation workshop within your team. As you can see here, it takes almost like the whole day for these all different innovation in activities. So that's why we will just have a much shorter version of that. So as you can see here, there is a plan, and also the Figma file will be shared with you as well. So if you would like to try it within your team or within your company, there is everything ready for you here. But because we don't have enough time, we will do like more like a compressed agenda, where we will just spend like from 7 to 10 minutes for each activity. So it will be like a quick introduction and quick overview of the things. I wish we could have more time, so we will be able to cover that in the future as well. But that's what we have today. So just a quick things around the best practices of doing the innovation workshop. It's not only about like preparation, or preparing the stakeholder map and understanding the timelines and when which timeframes are working for all the team members, but it's also about like the mindset, how we can change the mindset of thinking to make sure that we will able to get some interesting insights from this innovation workshop. And the first one is don't say no. we are not speaking about like we are not going to implement everything that we are speaking here about. Try to be positive and not to block ideas from the beginning, because sometimes they might be sound like confusing, but in the future, within couple after a couple discussions and iterations, there might be some more interesting ideas that you could implement and focus on. Another one, the best practice is using images in the innovation workshops. Unfortunately, we didn't prepare images, but we have sticker notes that we can reuse. But in the future, in perfect scenarios, it's better to use images, because these images are giving much more context and can help you to generate more ideas out of that. And another practice is don't think about the complexity. We are not here to estimate the work and plan the work in like couple months. Innovation workshops are done for the companies that are struggling with understanding what needs to be done next. When they have everything, it works also with B2B services, and we will share that more information about that as well. The goal of this workshop is to dream and come up with some innovative ideas, and don't think about the complexity right now. Another one is prepare in advance. Because we have some activities like trend metrics, we need to be prepared before that. So we need to gather some latest technologies and trends that are available right now on the market. So when we are starting these workshops, we have all the materials ready. Another one is think big. The scale of our planning starts with 1+ year. So that's why we are not thinking about small features, small improvements. We are thinking about larger things. So that's why try to unlock and break the thinking templates and scale your vision. And in UPAM, it's better if you would like to do that with the client. Jonathan Lupa can help you to facilitate these workshops in much more professional way. Today, we just wanted to share with you that this practice is available and share some resources with you as well, so you can try that with your team as well. And if you would like to read more, there is also boards of innovation, and there is a link where you can read more about this innovation workshop in more details. Okay, so let's speak about the challenge. So we didn't want to share with you just the theory. We wanted to share with you, go with you with some practical example. And Lily, could you step in here and share your challenge?
Yes, for sure. So hello, everybody, one more time. Actually, we decided to focus on one specific product. So not to go hypothetical and talk about some products that are available somewhere outside of the company. We wanted to focus on something that is available within EPAM. So that's why, after a little consideration, we decided to review the video portal that is available within EPAM. At the moment, actually, within the video portal, I am a product manager, and we're focusing on a number of innovative approaches like machine learning and speech recognition. And I was just wondering, what are the next steps that we can take? What are the stars that we can reach? So that's why I talked to Farid and suggested that maybe we can tie this workshop to the video portal. And thanks to Farid, we are doing that. So today, all the activities are going to be around video portal, and it is also very helpful for you to participate because you have been interacting with the video portal before and know the key features and possibilities of that platform. So hopefully you will find this workshop helpful. Please feel free to write down your suggestions into the Q&A section, and we will proceed from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilia. Yeah, so the plan for today is go through the video portal, and let's start. You can click on my user picture to see where I am right now. Let's start with the activity area with the main page called workshop. So we had this icebreaker activity. We see some introductions from other people like Maria, Max, nice to meet you. Okay, there is an arrow that helps you to navigate through all the activities that we have. So let's start with the first one. And we have here timer. Let me start it right now. Okay, as you can see here, the first one is the opposite thinking. As we said before, this is the place to ask yourself to familiarize with the opposite side of things, to stretch the horizon of possibilities. We have stickers here. If you have any thoughts about like any notes, please duplicate them and you can add your own ideas here as well. But the idea here, as we say, that the first thing we are starting with the assumption. The way describing the assumption of how about your concepts, about how have about your concept or domain. The next one, we are trying to describing the opposite of that assumption, and based on this opposite part, we are able to come up with some more interesting ideas. So let's start with the first one. The first assumption, if we are speaking about the video portal, users watch video portal for educational purposes. This is one of the assumptions. Yes, it's correct. Let's try to completely make it opposite. Users are not watching video portal for educational purposes. As you can see here, the first reaction is like confusing. Why people are not watching video portal for educational purposes? But that's the activity that helps us to break the thinking templates and come up with some interesting more ideas that will help us to think and view the things in larger scales. So based on this opposite assumption, we are able to come up with some ideas like other ways to interact with the users. It's not only about the educational. It's also about other types of interactions within the video portal. It's not about only communication as well. We don't have only videos. We have also communications. We have some articles. The way how people will be able to educate. And based on this activity, we are able to come up with these solutions, and seeing the opposite side of assumption, came up with some interesting ideas here as well. Lilia, would you like to elaborate on this part a little bit more and share
Yes.
your experience?
Yes, for sure. Thank you. So our first assumption was that a user watches video portal just for educational purposes, and we wanted to stretch the constraints of this statement. So that's why we actually went on and made this hypothesis that users are not watching video portal for educational purposes only. So it's actually a good idea to also have this workshop with the team, so you can have a little discussion, and more ideas are actually going to appear in the process of communication. So that's actually what we've done with Farid. But I think if we would have worked with the team, much more interesting ideas would have come up. So, for example, some of the things that we have thought about is that transcript can be converted into video format. So, for example, there is an interesting article that you have wrote, and you would like to make it in a different format, because according to analytics, much more people are consuming video content in the moment. So that's why maybe you would want to convert text article into the video. So this is an interesting approach. As Fred mentioned before, we shouldn't think about the constraints or the limits of the implementation. We might not know how we're going to do that functionality at the moment, but for the future, it can also unleash additional creativity. So the next thing that we thought about is that there could be different formats for education, like communication, articles, some workshops, etc. So not exactly tied to the videos. So we thought that maybe we could incorporate other types of content into the video portal and think how we can, tie everything together. So maybe there could be a video about a certain topic, and then we can also link somehow, all of the other types of content that is available to this specific topic. Another thing that is quite interesting and we thought would be useful is to actually optimize the way how user is interacting with the video. So at the moment, in order to get the key idea from the video, you really have to watch it through. The entire video has to be processed by you, by your eyes, spend your time watching the entire video. So we thought that maybe we could do something like highlights. So highlight key ideas either in the video transcript or in the video itself, so that whenever a user searches for some specific topic, he will be drawn directly to this fragment of the video and not spread to, all of the other fragments that are not necessarily relevant to his point of interest. So another thing is that we could do saving the timestamp of the speaker slides. So whenever somebody is preparing for his personal speech, he's also sometimes can draw ideas from other speakers, and he or she might find it interesting to look for the frameworks that are being used by other people or leaders in a similar area of specialization. So that's why saving that kind of the timestamps will make it easier for user to jump directly to the specific framework, learn specific ideas, and also maybe save a screenshot for the future. So I think that's about it, Farid, regarding the first part.
Yeah, thank you, Lilia. Yeah, as you can see here, we are trying to break the thinking templates and make opposites show opposite side of the assumption. So that might give us some more interesting ideas and like scale the way how we are seeing on the things. If anyone from the participants have some ideas or would like to practice that right now, please share that. There is one sticker that is available, and we will help you to come up with some solutions. Do we have possibility to unmute some participants if they would like to speak?
Farid, I'm afraid, but we have to hurry up a little bit. We have to jump to the next topic. So what we could recommend is maybe you can either copy that template and try to use it within your team, or also take a look at other examples within this specific framework and try to understand the logic behind, how we did it, because you know the product, and you can see here how we try to address different ideas.
True. Agree. Okay, let's start with the next activity. I hope that was helpful for you. Let's start with the trend metrics. Let me turn on the timer here as well. So the trend metrics is helping us to, again, as we said before, to think about the different trends and technologies that we have right now. And when we are thinking about the different technologies and trends, we are able, again, based on our challenge, came up with some interesting ideas here as well. So for example, we have one of the ideas here around VR. So let me just put it here as the trend. Then we have Neuralink. This is another technology that is happening soon. Not soon, maybe in 5-10 years.
Farid, can you give me just a second? Guys, if you are lost, at the top right corner, you can click at the participants, find their Farid's icon, and just click there. So you will be following the pointer of Farid, and it will be easier to see where he specifically is and follow his actions.
Thank you, Lilia. Yeah, okay, so let's start. As you can see here, we, again, gathered some trends and technologies that are happening in the last couple years that are in demand, like that are becoming popular today. So this is the activity that by understanding what are the latest trends and latest technologies, we are, again, are able to come up with some ideas based on these technologies. So, one of the ideas that Lilia came up with is around the VR AR, right? And Neuralink, licensing content, and AI. Lilia, would you like to elaborate on some of these things more, please?
Yes, for sure. So what we try to do is actually we are probably a lot of the people who are working in IT, they are following the trends and the new products that are being released by the leaders in the tech world. And actually, Farid and I have been following Elon Musk a little bit, as well as the Facebook leader. Farid, what's his name? I forgot. Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, right. Sorry, I'm a little worried. So yeah, and basically they're focusing right now. Mark Zuckerberg is focusing on virtual reality and augmented reality with his Oculus and the other applications that they are creating around that. And maybe today it sounds a little bit like a small niche. We really think that there could be a possibility for further growth in the future. So that's why Farid and I we thought that maybe a video player could use that trend in the future and adjust the format of the video so that users can have this experience of being present in the speech or participate in the discussions and everything like that, because the processing of the information is much better when you are on the spot, when you are interacting with some of the amazing leaders. I'm pretty sure that all of us will be super excited to talk to Elon Musk or anybody who is not even alive, like Steve Jobs. We can just watch his video, see him, we'll interact with him somehow a little bit on a limited scale, of course, but still I think it will be awesome. So that's something that we thought about. Another trend is Neuralink. It is still pretty new, but the velocity at which they are implementing and progressing, it's pretty amazing. So that's why we thought that maybe we can optimize the way users actually process the information. So we thought that maybe in the perfect world, it will be just awesome if you can learn in your sleep. So since Neuralink is a technology that kind of reads and writes from your brain, we could possibly do that sometime in the future when it will be accessible to the general public. So these are just two of the major ideas, I think, that we considered and that totally blew our minds away. And we think that it's really something interesting. So yeah, I think the rest of the two examples you can check out on your own and maybe suggest some of the other ideas. So Farid, is this board public so that we can see users' engagement later on?
Yeah. All the people who are during this workshop are able to duplicate the sticker and add their notes there as well. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time today, and it will be just more like introduction and overview. But if you will have some time to put your notes here, and we can like go through that together with you, with the people who are on the call, that will be great. But yeah, today is just like quick overview of all the things. And usually when we are speaking about these innovation workshops, it's important to have a lot of different people on the call. So it's not only about two people, it's more about like the team. Because of these ideas, some of the ideas might unlock others. So that's why it's important to have this communication within your team as well in the future. Okay, let's go to the next activity. This is more interesting, I believe. So that's why let me just start the timer that we have here. So the next one is around the analogy thinking. Analogy thinking helps us to identify and apply the best practices, features from other solutions, from other disciplines as well. As we said before, it's not about like competitor analysis. It's more about understanding and trying to make the analogies from the different disciplines. So as you can see here on the left side, we have cases, right? We can show here disciplines or other things. And on the right side, we can come up with some ideas how we can implement their best practices into our product as well. So let's start with some of these examples. So the first analogy is around streaming services. Because of we are like focusing on the video portal, what if we will try to think about like Spotify or other streaming services that already have? So it's not real our competitor if we would like to do the competitor analysis, but some of the best features that they have, we could try to adapt to ourselves. And again, we are not speaking about the features, we are speaking about like some much larger initiatives in the future. And some of them might be not valuable, but some of them might unlock you some interesting things in the future. So we have 4 different analogies here with the streaming services, stand-up comedians, science, and stock market. As you can see here, we try to take the examples from completely different disciplines. So Lilia, would you like to elaborate that a little bit more on these topics? Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Farid. So, first of all, we are reviewing the music streaming service, and Farid already mentioned Spotify. So, there you can see the playlists of other people. So, we were just dreaming, thinking, and one of the ideas came up to us that maybe we could share the playlists of other people like. I don't know, Arkady Dobkin. What is he watching? What other trends, what are his recent speeches, etc., so that we can try to understand the bigger picture, the mission of the company, where we're going, etc. So basically, it's like getting in the shoes of some other person, a leader, somebody who motivates and inspires us. So this is actually something that I think streaming services are trying to do. Another thing is suggestion of different levels of content. So as you probably know, Spotify, it validates what kind of music you like, whether you like that specific song or not, whether you made the sound a little higher, it means that you like that song. If you skip to the next, it means you don't really like that song. So we could do a pretty similar thing, but with the help of the users. So users can evaluate whether they liked a specific video in the video portal and I don't know, probably do some kind of voting specifying which level specifically that content is for, so that the content is tailored much better to the users of the video portal. And another thing about music streaming services is assistance with the privacy. So privacy is very important to EPAM and I think to all people at the moment. So that's why what other thing that we can do is implement face recognition so that every employee can know where exactly his face has been used, and he can either opt out from that option that his image is being used or something like that. So again, this is just a small seed for further elaboration with the team. And a few of the other things that I wanted to mention before we run out of time is regarding the comedians. So really, till this moment, we really have been focusing on the viewers of the content, but there are also other roles within the video portal, for example, content creators, and we would like to create more values for them as well. So that's why we were thinking, keeping in mind the analogy with stand-up comedians, that comedians are practicing their speeches on different audience. They try to change the way they present their material in different ways. So we could do very similar. We can provide the tools for the speakers to get feedback from the viewers and understand which videos work better, which topics are more interesting for the viewers at any specific given time, so that they can tailor and adjust their future presentation according to the feedback that they have received. Um, another thing that I wanted to mention is about science. So science is another really interesting analogy that we try to draw from. So science is a very dynamic sphere, just similar to the technological sphere. Technologies are constantly changing, new trends are appearing, and some things become outdated, and it is normal. If we are thinking about science, we can all remember that from the books in the history class in school, we learned that before, ancient people thought that Earth is actually hangs on four elephants that stand on a turtle. So we all know now that this is definitely not the case, that Earth is round and is going around the sun. So similar things are happening in technology. So for example, before the introduction of GDPR, it's a policy for handling the private information of users. Before, definitely different algorithms and approaches have been used to managing the personal data. And with the introduction of this policy, developers have to rethink their approaches and the design of their systems. So based on that, what we can do within the video portal is actually recommend or mark some of the content that became outdated, for example. So I think the last example can be reviewed on your own, and please feel free to try to find another analogy that could be used for video portal or your product. Thank you. Farid, back to you.
Thank you, Lilia. Yeah, I think you can see the value of this activity as well, because that again helps us to see the similarities, analogies with other disciplines that can give us more ideas as well. And the last part is around the sorry, it's not updated, but about the evolution analysis. So when we are thinking about the innovation, sometimes it's just like the new innovation came up from the previous two solutions, or like two approaches that we had before. So that's why this activity helps us to think in not in like in years. It helps us to think in like in 25, 10 years. That helps us to increase this the way of thinking, the way of seeing things, because one of our goals here is to think big. So when we are going through the video portal, as an example, we are able to see how people used videos 20 years before. So that will give us a little bit history of how the evolution of this technology was done, how different techniques was merged into one, and how it produced some new interesting approach here as well. We are thinking not only about the past, we are thinking about the present. What do we have right now? What are the latest technologies that we have, and how in the future, in near future, from 2 to 20 years, for example, that could be changed, transferred to something else. And here as well, we are thinking about the far future. And as I mentioned before, the innovation workshop is not done for preparing roadmap for the next quarter or the next half year, for example. This is something bigger. And in this kind of activity helps you to specify vision, some like interesting ways of how you see your product in 20, in 10 years. We all understand that like the current ways how businesses are working, not all of them have this span of time, but still we are here just to think about like what is like can be done in the future. So that will help us to specify our vision and our goals. Lilia, could you please elaborate on one of our examples here? Thank you.
Sure. So, guys, what we're going to do now is quickly go through one of the options here and then jump to the questions, because we are running out of time and we want everybody to have a chance to ask a question. So, the example that we are going to review is that initially there has been, probably you remember when you have been young, it was like a big VHS cassettes that you insert into the player and you go to like a renting space, take a cassette, and then play it at home. It was a really big business in around 1985 till about 1995 or something like that. There was actually in the US, there was a big renting place called Blockbuster. And it was pretty successful until the trends have changed. And in 2010, the Blockbuster company filed for bankruptcy. And actually, closer to our time, we can see that in 2005, YouTube emerged. I'm not sure if you've heard of that or not, but just before YouTube, there was another company that was working on entertainment content. It was called Z.com, and it had very similar idea, but it couldn't perform really well because there was no broadband network at that time. So that's why they filed for bankruptcy as well, Z.com. And just 2 years later, YouTube appeared and had a success that we know today. So here actually you can see that how the format of the video has changed. It was VHS cassette first, then DVDs, then CDs, then cloud. That's what we have today. But definitely that is not the end of the trends. Here you can see that probably in the future there will be 3D, virtual reality, augmented reality, etc. And the last thing that we think where everything goes is that there will no even be a need to have a a video or to process a video somehow, everything will be passed to our brain through different impulses that will create image, because obviously whatever we receive from outside, it's actually being processed into the brain. So without the brain, none of the beautiful pictures will really matter. So that's why the brain will be able to imitate the picture, the emotion, the feeling, etc. So I think we can stop for now. I think you got the idea. Please feel free to check out this graph. But for now, we will switch to questions. So Farid, there was a question from one of our listeners. Do you consider reaching out to users at some point on your innovation pipeline? I believe the person is asking about the end users who are engaging with the product.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Like in some points, we could validate these ideas with them, but the only person who knows the product well is you and your team as well. So that's why I think it's better. I also forgot to add a slide here to add. Now it's also important about the audience on this during this workshop. It's important to have innovators and early adopters on this workshop, so we will not think about the issues, we will try to dream about the future things that could be possible. So that's why, again, if you have really like your one of your like customers who is like a champion in your product, who's using it a lot and have a lot of different ideas, you can invite him here as well. But it's always better to invite people who are innovational and like as like early adopters to make sure that the results of this innovation workshop will be valuable. So it's really important to think about the audience as well. Lilia, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I can add from the perspective of product management. So probably all of you have heard the example of Henry Ford when he said that when I would address people what they want, they would tell me faster horses, and they wouldn't tell him to design a car or something like that. So at this point, we can really try to understand the needs and the pains of the customer. And on this innovation workshop, think how we can resolve those problems. So as you have seen, we have talked about the viewers, the content creators, from the standpoint of their pains, of their problems that we're trying to solve with our product. So yeah, this is all that I wanted to add. So let's move on to the next question. Do you recommend including behavioral or social trends in line with technology?
I think yeah, every data could help. The most importantly is to again to gather as much information as as you have, because like when we have more information, more insights, we could think bigger in a larger scale. So if there are any additional things based on your needs that could be helpful, yes, for sure, that might unlock some interesting ideas in the future as well.
Actually, Farid before was bringing out an example about pandemic, for example, or about the trend of staying at home, working remotely. This is something that also could be reviewed. So if Farid, you would want to share some other aspects, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we have another question. So what is the method behind last activity? How past events could help predict future?
The evolution analysis is not about the predicting the future. It's most about like understanding the evolution of some specific technologies that we had. As you can see here, these kind of things are helping us understand the way of how things merged together, how they changed during the time. So that's why this activity is the last one from the all four activities. At the end, when we are starting the evolution analysis, the whole team have a lot of interesting ideas. And this evolution analysis could help us to identify the timing where we could add these kind of things into our timeline. So it's not, it's like most likely final activity during this innovation workshop where you can just map all the things in during this timeline and see which kind of things we could merge into something else.
And I think it is also to give a hint to the team members that nothing is permanent. So some company can be super popular, super successful at one point of time, but it's nothing eternal. So that's why it's important to, actually think for the future. Okay, and the last question, when we can use workshop for innovation?
I think this is one of the good examples that right now we have is projects from Lilia, the video portal. We are not speaking about the innovations from the beginning because at some point we just need to validate the main idea. But when we are on the page on the state where we have the product, we have the basic functionalities, but we don't know what to do next, this innovation workshop could specify our goals and vision for the upcoming 5 or more years. So that's why we could do that in really early stages when we are just thinking about like the ideas for like different startups, maybe to find some weak spots and find some interesting idea that could be helpful for the humanity. Or we can do that when we have the basic functionality in our product and we would like to extend and improve our vision and specify it all together with the team. And also, one of the other aspects of that is that it motivates team members because they are seeing the future. How again, this is really motivational ideas could impact them as well. So that's why, yeah, it's important to have that, as I said, in the early in the beginning or when you have a working product and you would like to know where to go next.
Okay, thank you, Farid, very much for your talk. I hope everybody enjoyed this workshop. It is a very limited time, and we try to deliver to you a maximum. Last comment that I would like to make is that if you have any other questions, please feel free to check out Community Z page of this event and post your questions or recommendations there. And also, maybe it will be interesting for you, I have left you 2 other links to other topics by Farid, that you might find interesting. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you will enjoy this event and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Lily, for adding all your comments and helping. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Take
Have a great
care. Bye
day.
bye.